Welcome back, blade lovers. And blade lovers, I think you're going to love this today. Ahead of this review, I've put this up on Instagram as well as a short on YouTube, and you guys have gone wild over it. And I use that term something special very often these days because I feel many of the knives are special to me and perhaps special to you. And this comes from a gentleman that probably needs no introduction. His name is Dirk Pinkerton. And he has done so many designs for Kaiser, for Concept, for Beyond DDC, commercial knives that have seen great success, I should say commercial designs. Not the least of which is the Main Street. I'll mention that one because it's somewhat in the same format as the blade you're going to see today, meaning one of Dirk's favorite designs. And one of his favorite designs is the Wharncliffe. Now, this may or may not be a Wharncliffe, depending upon how you assess the design. But we can't see much of it here other than the beautiful sculpted and contoured Richlite handle. Now, I got to pick out the steel, the handle material, and the details on the grind on this one. So here is, with no further ado, the Fire Ant. Look at this beauty. I'm going to just take a few seconds and show you the beautiful grind on the blade. One thing you notice is that the grind is perfectly even on both sides. There is a long, narrow flat that goes down to right about there. And that flat is the same on both sides. It's an incredible feat to do by hand. And in an industry where many knives are being CNC'd, we can call them custom, certainly, but they are custom only in that they're made in a single plant and designed by one individual. And he sets up the machines, and the machines kind of take over. And much as you have with production knives, they are repeatedly made copy after copy to look exactly the same. And that repeatability is great, but doing it by hand, I'm not saying you don't see that often because there's still many custom makers out there, but Dirk is truly a custom maker, and he's going to charge you a fair price for the knife as well. He's not going to gouge you. The bang for the buck on his handmade stuff is just incredible. So rather than going on and on and on, I'm going to tell you that this has a mild hollow grind, had a choice of a flat, a deep hollow, or a mild hollow. So I forget the size wheel he used on this, but it has just enough of a hollow to give you an extremely sharp edge without going too high in the grind, because we've got 3 edges on this knife. And that, I think, is one of the remarkable things about the design. It is a Wharncliffe if you look at it this way. It is a Tanto if you look at it that way. Isn't that odd? Except that edge is not the main edge, because we have this deep jimping here. And hey, you're not going anywhere on this jimping, let me tell you. It grabs you. It's actually slightly a little bit prickly because those shoulders there are sharp and it's cut fairly deep. They're not rounded over, not at all. So I can place my thumb there with lots of confidence. I can't go fully out to a hammer grip, but that's okay. We've got certainly a long enough run of jimping here. And I'm going to get you measurements in just a moment. But that whole concept, again, of reverse tanto, if you hold it this way, it's a reverse tanto, but truthfully, it's a usable tanto if you hold it this way. That means that I can hold it in a ice pick or point down or pical grip and have a very usable back edge. Very usable, with a point that's going to pierce and that top edge that's going to rip. Usually we're seeing a knife that's got the inward edge here, but in order to give you a main edge here for cutting, for thrusting, whatever, and have a top edge, it, in this case, has to be this way. Well, I don't want to keep jabbering on. I know you want to see more about the knife, and I've got some interesting compares as well. Now, the steel on this one is Magncut. When I ordered the knife, he had 3 blanks available, a small, a medium, and a large, and this is kind of the medium. So I wanted something small enough to carry without any problem that I could even drop in the pocket. And I think his large one was like 5.5 inches. So this one is supposed to be 4.25. I haven't measured it yet, but it's actually 4 inches, okay? It's 4 inches down to there, and it's got a 3 3/4 inch cutting edge. The top edge is about 3 inches. And what did I say? 3 3/4 cutting edge on the bottom, 3-inch cutting edge on the top. So just about a 3/4 of an inch differential there. Overall, it is 8 inches. So it's a perfect size in that 4-inch range, as with some other knives that I'm going to show you for compare. And let's get some thicknesses on it before we strafe too far. And I'll get you an average here because it is pretty much contoured with some scallops that go in further than others. The high point is 0.57. And the blade stock is 0.13. And that 0.13 translates to 3.3 millimeters on the stock. Finally, the weight. And I'm hoping I have a scale going for me here because I've had battery issues that needs to be replaced. The weight is only we'll call it 3.3 ounces. So we got a 3.3 millimeter blade thickness and we got 3.3 ounces. If you must know what it is with the sheath is negligible in weight, but we'll put it on there and weigh it anyway. So it's 4 ounces with the sheath, like 0.7 ounces for the Kydex in this case. Just turning the scale off so I can save the battery. The Kydex is quite nice. I asked for the push-off with the thumb. And because of the contouring here, you have the same challenge with this as you do with like a Tsukamaki wrap on a knife. And you can push it off pretty easily. If it's in your pocket and you push it off, you're definitely going to be able to draw the knife without any problems. Now, this is becoming my favorite size knife. I think the 3-inch knives sometimes are a little short, depends upon how much handle you got. I like to have enough handle. This is about a 1/2 inch or so longer than the width of my hand, so it fits perfectly. The thickness helps because it's not that tall of a handle. And we're going to do some compares with, let's see, first of all, 2 similar knives in concept. There is a 3-edge, a triple edger from Tikal. This is the Guardian, I believe it's called. He makes another one with a ring on it, and I forget the name. Tim's got a lot of knives made with the name Knight in it. So I don't know. But this is the Guardian, and look, we've got pretty much same length, almost exactly. And we've got the 3 edges. He's carried it out a little bit differently. And I don't have quite as much, well, maybe I do actually have just about the same amount of room for my thumb, but minus the jimping, which I sort of miss on this knife. But it's still that reverse tanto, if you will, or Wharncliffe. And it's got a much more stout edge, but Tim still manages to put a very sharp edge on this. I think this is 1095. This is one of his older knives, and it's got the nickel boron coating on it, which is great. Certainly, this one's more of a showpiece, but nonetheless a user in Magncut. One other TKL knife that's sort of in the same design ballpark. This is the Nightshade, and this is the Wharncliffe style, or Reverse Tanto, I guess he's calling it, Nightshade, with only 2 edges because this one's not sharpened because you really don't have the room to be able to use it. This is a great little, as Tim says, get off me knife. But you can see the similarities, that's why I brought them out, between these 3, with the way they're clipped, and some are sharpened on 3 edges and some are sharpened on 2. Just different styles, different takes on sort of the same design message, if you will. So one more compare. Here's another knife in the same size category. And this is the Carl Sr., we'll call it. It's a full-size Carl from Auxiliary Manufacturing and Mike Jarvis. So again, here we've got a heavy stone wash, kind of a tumbled finish, and we've got a fancier handle, and this one also is in Magncut. But I'm liking the size here. I probably favor the grip on this one a little bit more. Now, I could have gone to the one larger size up with this, but I just wanted it a little more portable. But look how we've got the same size blade, but a shorter handle by a good inch. So this is going to be a knife that, especially in your pocket or your waistband perhaps, is going to carry a little easier than this one. However, this one feels a little more comfortable in my hand, I have to admit. No jimping. You won't see a lot of jimping on the Carl series from Compliance, from Auxiliary rather. I think in Compliance too. I like Compliance edges as well. Let's bring out, I did say that was the last one, but we'll bring out 2 more compares real quick. Here is your good old staple, the Street Beat from Spyderco, about 1.25 inches shorter overall, and about 1 inch shorter blade. So about a 3-inch blade on this one. Really depends upon where you're measuring it. If they cut the handle back a little bit and you keep measuring, see, I got a 3.5 inch, but like a 3.25 inch cutting edge on this one. Very compact on this one, and a very secure grip. This is, for the money, one of the best small carry fixed blades you can get. One more Pinkerton, since we're talking Dirk today. And there is his Urban Nomad. That's a knife he says he wishes he didn't get rid of because he loves it so much. A little shorter blade, maybe 1/2 inch or so. And definitely in that Wharncliffe style. Sorry, you can't call that one a Reverse Tanto, no edge up there, but it's very pointy. I want to do a paper cut. So, because I think this has really a superior edge on it, hand honed from Dirk. Look how piercy this thing is. You barely have to do anything. And it's just a razor blade. Razor blade. How about the top edge? Yep. Top edge is cutting it too. Look at that. No worries there. How about that third edge? The third edge might not be quite as sharp, but it's sharp enough to do the work. It's a very shallow edge there, but it's cutting. Look at that. It's cutting. Oh, thank you, Dirk. I have to also thank Bob DeMarco, who got one of these before I did and loves it. The Fire Ant. Forget the details on his, but there's a review of it. He loves it up on his channel. But there's the Fire Ant. Triple edge knife. Amazing design. Beautiful Richlite, if I didn't mention it. This is not micarta. This is Richlite with a 2-tone in there. You've got the really nice pattern design going in there. Just both a showpiece and a beautiful, amazing carry knife. That is the Fire Ant, Dirk Pinkerton Customs. Be well. Don't forget to give this vid a like and subscribe. I will be back soon.